2019 closes off the decade in gaming, where we got some amazing titles. I'm JB, and I know I'm late to the party on this one, but with a full-time job and studies, I had to take my time completing all the games I could to make this list. So without further ado, here are my top 10 games of 2019. Finally, we have a Star Wars game that doesn't suck and isn't filled with microtransactions. Seriously, it's been a long time since we've had a great single-player Star Wars game. When I heard the news that ex-Call of Duty and Apex Legends developer Respawn were making the new Star Wars game with Stig, the lead designer of God of War 3, I knew the game was going to be one of the better Star Wars games, and it didn't disappoint. Playing as Cal Kestis, a young Jedi coming into his own after the Empire has come looking for him as he fights back to find his true purpose in life. The supporting cast was also great. BD1 was a personal favourite of mine, and Sayre's backstory with Trilla was something we haven't explored in a Star Wars game for a while. The Souls-like gameplay really fit the game well, and leveling up with Force powers made you connect with Cal as he grew stronger, combined with great cinematic moments, and you have one of the best games of 2019. Metro Exodus is my first entry to the Metro series, and I must say, I was pleasantly surprised. I found Metro to be a fantastic game. Playing as Artyom aboard the Aurora, seeing beautiful vistas such as the forest, desert and snow, it has a more subtle pace to the game, a callback to first-person shooters many years ago. You won't be seeing Michael Bay-inspired set pieces. Instead, Metro decides to pull you in with its captivating vistas and its grueling beasts and weaponry. The decision making in the game will give you one of multiple endings. Its tight gameplay and lengthy campaign makes it one of the best games of 2019. Also, it's probably the best looking game of 2019 in my opinion. Obsidian is back with one of the best RPGs of last year. The Outer Worlds didn't do anything new or innovative, and that's okay. It didn't have to. All people have been asking for years is we want a great sci-fi RPG game that isn't riddled with bugs, looks good, and has a great world to explore and loot. That's exactly what Obsidian has done here. Halcyon is a beautiful place to explore. Meeting the crew like Parvati and her romance with Junlei and performing other crew members' missions gave me Mass Effect 2 vibes. The Outer Worlds is a jack of all trades, master of none. It does everything to a good standard. And since the genre has gone by the wayside thanks to Bethesda and the disaster that was and still is Fallout 76, then this game will have to do. One of the best exploration games I've ever played. I absolutely loved The Outer Wilds. I won't spend too much time talking about this game because it's the type of game to go blind with, but I'll say that going into outer space with your ship and hearing the soundtrack as you head to your destination, and you land with your ship and explore the sounds with your trusty tools, then going back into your ship, going into another planet, and seeing that you're about to get killed by a massive meteorite is something I haven't experienced in 2019, and that makes it one of the best games of 2019. One of the better games in the series, Gears 5 comes in strong with the Coalition's second entry into the franchise. As a fan of Gears of War since the original 2006 days, Gears 5 is one of the more stronger entries in the series. It follows Kate Diaz, who is struggling with visions related to the possible Locust, with your trusted companion Del as he helps you through the campaign. You'll be greeted with great vistas like mountains, desert terrain, and for the first time ever in a Gears series, cities. The multiplayer is also strong with tons of unlockables and loads of free content. The fact that you can get this game on PC and Xbox with Xbox Game Pass, which is less than $5 a month on PC, makes it an insane value for the quality of this title. Even if you took the amazing value away from this game, it's still one of the best games of 2019. Probably the most surprising game on my list for me personally. I didn't expect Mortal Kombat to be as good as it was. I'm not really a fighting game fan, but NetherRealm has done a fantastic job with this title. It has that great B-movie feel to it, where you'll meet some interesting characters based around time looping. You'll see some fantastic character interactions like Johnny Cage new versus the old Johnny Cage, and just seeing the dialogue between the two was really funny to watch. It also had a great flow to it, with battles being padded out with great cinematic cutscenes, and these cutscenes were really top quality. The game also had a healthy length, and when I was done with it, I was done with it. I didn't jump into the multiplayer or anything else, and I didn't have to because the game's single player campaign was that good. I'm very happy for Remedy making Control. When we first saw Control, it didn't look the greatest. It looked a little bit janky, a little bit weird, and it didn't have the greatest shine that a lot of AAA games have these days. but that didn't stop it from being one of the best games of the year, and one of the biggest surprises of the year. Control had one of the best stories told in a video game, and one of the best game-playing games of the year. The abilities were a thrill to use every time, and how trippy the story gets towards the end was really enjoyable. The Metroidvania map-like map was fun to explore, and this is one of the best narrative and presentational games I've played in 2019. It's a shame that this game didn't sell as good as we all hoped for, but hopefully with all the awards it's been winning in 2019, more people will see this game for what it is, and that is one of the best games of 2019. A Plague Tale: Innocence is hands down the best indie title that came out in 2019. Considering its budget, this game is one of the best looking games of 2019. It's a narrative focused game putting you in the shoes of Amicia, a girl who's just had everything taken away from her by the Inquisition. You don't know what's happening in the beginning, but you soon find out that your brother, who you're looking after throughout the game, has a certain gift, you would say. Throughout the 10-hour adventure, roughly, you'll meet other characters, encounter some really cool moments that I don't want to spoil for you. It doesn't have in the way of much actual moment-to-moment gameplay, but it doesn't need to, because its characters and plot are so memorable that just those two things alone, along with its graphics, are more than enough to make this one of the best games of 2019. Resident Evil 2 looked good, but I was still pleasantly surprised with just how good the gameplay formula still holds till today. The slow-paced, suffocating, deliberate speed of movement still holds till this very day. It's a shame that it's taken Capcom this long to realise this is the kind of Resident Evil title we want, but alas, it's one of the best games of 2019, and this is coming from a player who's never played the original PlayStation 1 classic. There's not too much I didn't like about Resident Evil 2. It had great graphics, great gameplay, and a great campaign to traverse through, thanks to its enemy variety and weapon variety. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is hands down my game of the year for 2019. Nothing beat this game in all elements that make a great game. This game had a great story, great characters, and the tone of how dark it was, set in the Japan era where food was hard to get and people were dying of starvation. Playing as one of the last shinobi warriors and fighting for your king's freedom. Its intense difficulty and rewarding combat system, when executed correctly, made this one of the best game-playing games of 2019. And I'll never forget the last boss of the game. It took me a solid 6 hours just to beat for the secret ending. I just don't have any complaints with this game. This is about as perfect as a game can get and is my personal game of the year for 2019. So there you have it guys, my top 10 games of 2019. I know this video is a little bit late, but these games are still fresh in my memory from how good they are. I'm looking forward to 2020 with the new consoles coming out and some of the most hyped games of all time coming out this year. So I hope to see you guys in the next video.